Dr. Manhattan, as you know, the doomsday clock is a symbolic clock face analogizing humankind's proximity to extinction. Midnight representing the threat of nuclear war. As of now, it stands at 4 minutes to midnight. Would you agree that we're that close to annihilation?
I would only agree that a symbolic clock is as nourishing to the intellect as a photograph of oxygen to a drowning man.
So if you're like me and you laughed the first time you heard that, I guess it really hit home for me. But if you had any kind of thoughts about it, watch this same clip with these edits.
I would only agree that a symbolic clock is as nourishing to the intellect as a photograph of oxygen to a drowning man. At this point, the mass vigilante Rorschach, he has been arrested and he's being psychologically assessed. Also, it is possible to make a moving Rorschach mask. You guys may have noticed Rorschach's face, his mask. It's a perfectly symmetrical, constantly moving ink blot. And for you crazy fanboys out there who would like to have one, I'll include a link to it.
Your turn, Doctor. Tell me, what do you see?
There she was, woman who'd ordered special dress, Kitty Genovese. Raped, tortured, killed, outside her own apartment building. Almost 40 neighbors heard screams. Nobody did anything. Nobody called cops. Some of them even watched.
Here with the vigilante, retired vigilante Night Owl, and we'll take a look at the goggles he wears.
They work even better in the dark. You can see me, right?
I can see everything.
So we see the kind of heads-up display information gathering goggles that Night Owl wears, and these are real. Google has glasses that run on, I guess, Google searching or whatever, that does provide a real-world heads-up display of things around you. Okay, we'll go back here to the energy crisis kind of deal, so here's a new clip.
Without Dr. Manhattan around to bully the Russians into peace, Mr. Veidt, people are going to need good old-fashioned energy to rely on. You can understand. The world can't just quit on oil and nuclear power or cold turkey. You'll dismantle our entire economy overnight.
You're right, Lee. And why free energy? Well, free is just another word for socialist.
Okay, so we see here these guys are getting on Veidt, however you pronounce his name, talking about they don't want to, release their hold, on fossil fuels. For anybody who doesn't know, there's this guy named Tesla who had an idea for clean, free energy.
We know one thing Tesla was up to: wireless energy that could be transmitted around the world. First patented in 1891 by Tesla at age 35. Called the Tesla coil. Using an enormous Tesla coil, the inventor wanted to pump the Earth an atmosphere full of electric energy. He believed he could use the Earth as a natural conductor of electricity and send power around the world. In essence, the Earth would become a giant electrical outlet.
Because we don't have electric cars in mass that work well because people really don't want them. Now I know GM, Chevy, whoever makes the Volt, the electric car, they push that car now because they found a way to make money off of it, or at least they so thought. I'll include a link here, or actually I'll probably just put this clip on screen of this kid. Well, I shouldn't call him a kid, I'm probably just a few years older than he is, but this guy, he, to his own credit, made a electric engine that he put into, I believe it was a Porsche.
He won his $100,000 when he electrified a junkyard Porsche with a motor he says is cheaper and more efficient than what Detroit has to offer.
This guy makes an electric engine in his basement, attic, or whatever, puts it in a car, and now can drive it around. You really think these PhD master degree having people who have teams of people couldn't make an electric engine? I mean, they've had this technology for years. This kid made it in his basement, and these guys act like they can't push it out. But I'm ranting. We'll move on. Okay, we'll talk now about Adrian Veidt. The heroes have kind of figured out Veidt is up to something. So they go to Antarctica, to Veidt's secret base. And if you think that Antarctica is kind of a weird place for a supervillain to hide out, take a look at this clip.
The Svalbard Global Seed Vault has been built to withstand nearly every catastrophe.
The vault is secure against flooding. We're well above sea level if the ice on the poles should melt. It's safe against earthquakes. We're 130 meters inside the mountain, so we should be very safe against nuclear warfare and even asteroids.
So we see that seed vaults have been built, not sometime in the future. They're planning to, no, they do exist right now. People have made these seed vaults as kind of a fallout shelter, and like you heard the guy say in the clip, those things can withstand a nuclear holocaust.
Gentlemen, welcome.
Veidt kind of understands that the jig is up, so at this point he's going to explain his, master scheme to Rorschach and Night Owl.
You killed Comedian.
May he rest in peace. Blake figured it out first. Nixon had him keeping tabs on us, making sure we weren't rocking the boat. Blake found out what I was doing here in Karnak, and by the time he visited poor Moloch, he was cracking badly. Even I couldn't predict he'd be the one to have a change of heart. So, I had to kill him. Then I neutralized John. No easy task. I put roughly $2 billion into Tachyon research to block John's vision of the future.
You used his psych profile to manipulate him. Got him to leave the planet.
I've known John long enough to see he isn't devoid of emotion. His subtle facial twitches wouldn't be noticed by the layman, but to me, he might as well have been sobbing. All I needed to do was tug on the thread. The sudden flood of emotion John felt when he came to believe he'd given cancer to the people he loved was all the excuse he needed to leave Earth.
Assassin. You paid him to throw us off.
Mr. Chess gave his life in the service of a higher cause, Dan. I put a cyanide capsule in his mouth, leaving only one loose end. You and your mass killer theory. One you followed with the tenacity of a true sociopath. I tipped off the police, and once you were in prison, I was able to move forward.
Sorry to disappoint you.
It's a necessary sacrifice. A few key regions around the globe. New York, Los Angeles, Moscow, Hong Kong, disintegrated in an instant. 15 million people killed. The energy breakthrough I was working on just came to fruition. All these years, John was helping me replicate his power, unaware of how I planned to use it. So in order to save this planet, I had to trick it. With the greatest practical joke in human history.
Killing millions.
To save billions.
So Veidt is willing to kill millions to save billions. This is what is known as a false flag operation. Now there have been several different false flag operations. The one we'll mention here, because I guess it kind of ties in this, kind of the Vietnam deal. The Vietnam War was started by this thing called the Tonkin Gulf Incident. This is a false flag operation by the United States that was used to launch us into war. And that's not a conspiracy theory. That's not hearsay. That is fact. The U.S. government admits that.